So you focus mainly on slow speed stuff, or is there like any higher speed, anything like over 30 or anything like that?
Not that we do. The fastest thing we do is a break and swerve exercise that we do at 20 miles per hour. But our insurance,
Yeah.
it's a whole different company to get high speed stuff in there.
Yeah.
And motor officer training, we did the first week was all low speed stuff, and you couldn't do the high speed stuff till you mastered the low speeds, which made sense to me. And then they took us out on a track where our speeds got up to about 60 to 70 miles an hour, but you had to learn the low speed stuff first.
Okay. Okay. I've been on a fact-finding mission for this past year. All 2019, I became an MSF rider coach. I've taken advanced classes, a bunch of beginner classes all over again, just to kind of see what I could pick up. I've never taken a class from you, or I haven't got the DVD or anything like that yet. Is there do you have like a general overview? That way I have an understanding of what's truly going on.
Well, what I could do is I'll send you one of my Ride Like a Pro videos. It's 2 hours long. The first hour is the course that I teach.
Okay.
And the second hour is the actual motor officer course. And we send you a booklet that shows how to set up each of the exercises.
Okay.
And what I would suggest to you is to, spend a few hours practice, because I know when people come to my class, they've got my video and they've practiced before they get there. They are day and night above the average student.
Awesome.
But I'll send that to you, and you practice, put a little practice in, and then come on down to the course here. Where are you at?
I'm in Arizona, but the goal for 2020 is to go travel around and take different classes and meet different people and do some fun stuff. I've spent 2 years here just trying to find what I can do here. Now it's time for me to branch out and do some other stuff. But that would be great. That'd be awesome. So is that all the stuff I can do? Like I can find a parking lot. Like you have like an idea of like, okay, find a parking lot. It's like this, and here's the cone setup. Now go ahead and do it. Is that what it is?
Yeah, we give you the cone setup and the measurements and everything with it, with the video. And also I repeat them on the video. And we now got it on USB so that, you could take it and plug it into your phone with that little adapter.
Yeah.
You can watch each exercise. And on the video, we show the mistakes that you're likely to make, because they're always the same mistakes, as well as doing it the correct way. So you'll know immediately, oh yeah, I remember seeing that on the video. I didn't turn my head fast enough. I waited too long, that type of thing.
Yeah, that's huge. That and counterbalancing. I think a lot of people will start turning their head. It's like, okay, we got that step. Now let's do more counterbalancing. Let's do a little bit more weight to the inside, outside, all the different stuff. Yeah, that's really cool.
I stress the head and eyes friction zone and the rear brake. And depending on the rider, I see some riders want to lean with their motorcycle. If they're doing that a little bit too much, I'll get on them about that and explain about counterbalancing. But I don't stress that so much, because at 24 feet, you could just stay straight up in the motorcycle and let the bike lean under you, no problem. When I find if I want to make a 16-foot turn, yeah, I'm gonna move my butt all the way over to the high side. But I don't want to throw too much at them. Now, I'll get riders that come back that were pretty good, and they'll come back to the class, and I give them what I call the cruel Ride Like a Pro course, where I do narrow stuff down to 18 feet, and then I tell them all about the counterbalance and everything else. But initially, I'm stressing on just those three things are enough, believe me.
Okay.
And the reason the course is like 4 or 5 hours, depending on the size of the class, is because I found I experimented for 6 months to find out what the exact amount of hours should be. And I found 4 to 5 hours for the average person is like a full day's workout, because they're so tense.
Oh, yeah.
If you just stood and tried to flex your muscles for 20 minutes, and that's a lot, what they're doing. So they're tired out. They are done after 4 or 5 hours. Occasionally I'll get somebody who wants more than that, and they're ready for it, and they're in good physical condition, and I'll stay with them in the class as long as they want. In fact, I'll get riders down sometimes. If I've got a big class and 10 riders and 2 of them are really good, I'll get those riders down to motor officer size inside of those 4 or 5 hours.
Oh, very cool. And they bring whatever bike they have, right? So do you have sport bike riders, or is it mainly Harley riders because they want to see that?
I would say it's 90% Harleys, probably about 5% BMWs, maybe 2% sport bikes, and we're starting to get some Indian riders now. And I also found out on Indians, and I don't know why this is, but if the Indian bike tips over, they don't have a bank sensor. They just keep going right on the ground. And I tell
Really?
it to be, yeah, I don't know why they do that, but it's pretty dangerous. I've had riders, and I tell them, if your bike tips over, make sure you hit that kill switch, because the bike is going to keep going. If you hang onto the handlebars, it's going to drag you with it.
That's something. I mean, I have an Indian, but I've never tested dropping it, so I wouldn't know. I had a Harley that I've dropped a few times, and yeah, it shut off. So that's never even thought of that.
All you got to do is start your bike up, and keep the clutch in, just lay it over on the ground, and I'll bet you'll find, if it's the big Indian. Now the smaller ones I'm not sure about, but any of the full size touring bikes, just lay it down on the ground. If it doesn't cut out, you know that you don't have a bank sensor, or the bank sensors aren't very sensitive, because it's happened. Every Indian rider who's come to my class and dropped the bike just keeps on going.
Oh wow! Does your techniques work for any bike, really? Like sport bikes, anything?
If it has two wheels, one in the front and one in the back, it works.
Right. Cool. I like that you're teaching to the human, because you're talking about your instincts not doing what it should be doing. Like, you need to fight those instincts when you're on a motorcycle. That's something I have to struggle with sometimes.
Oh, you're not alone. A lot of people struggle. In fact, so many people ride for years on what I call, and I did it myself, on instinct. If you don't have any training, you're just using what your brain tells you. And it's a funny thing, but when it comes to riding a motorcycle, the brain is telling you all the wrong stuff. It's like the devil on your shoulder. Look at that car. Look at him. Keep staring at him. He might pull out in front of you. That type of thing. And we see it in the class. They have people. I call it fish eyes. They want to look. Fish have eyes on the sides of their head. Yeah. So what they do is they turn their eyes looking at the place they shouldn't be looking at. Where the brain is telling them, like, no, I see you. You got fish eyes. Look for the green cone. That's the only place you need to focus on.
So during your classroom stuff, I typically, in my classroom, I'll have a student that it almost feels like they're going to fail out, like within the first two exercises. I'm like really concerned about their safety. Maybe they're going to run into somebody. But then when it comes to the testing and towards the end of the class, they're probably the best student. Like, they're not thinking about stuff or whatever it is, they just do it. Do you have like any really crazy success stories like that?
I have had students that I think, I watch them the very first exercise, and I'm saying, man, this is going to be awful. And about halfway through the class, we call it the light comes on, and suddenly they turn around, and I've seen that quite a bit. And then I have some that just will not get it. There's no way it's going to happen. In fact, I filmed one young lady. Her name is Lauren, and I did, I think, 3 videos on her. I had her come back for a private lesson because she had the will. She just didn't have. It took her long, and some people it takes longer. But if you have the will and you really want to learn, you can do it. I have other people who are really bad, and I tell them you need to come back for a private lesson. I never hear from them again. I know that they didn't have the will. I had one guy who could not make a U-turn in 300 feet. I mean, it was pitiful. And I had a Sportster with me that day. He was on an electric glide. And I got him on the Sportster. And after 3 hours, I got him down to 40-foot U-turns on the Sportster. But there was no quitting this guy. So he came back then to a week later and did the whole course on the Sportster in 24 feet. And was proud of himself. And then the third week, he came back again. And he thought he was going to get on the Sportster. I said, no, try on your own bike. He was down to 18-foot turns by the end of that class.
Wow.
So, but he just there was no quit. Nothing was going to stop this guy from learning. And it reminded me of myself when I took the original course. There was nothing that was going to stop me from passing that course. And he did it. And, there's some people who come there and they don't have that will. And you're probably never going to get any better. If you don't train and you don't have the want and need and desire to be a good rider, you're never going to be a good rider. It's that simple. It's probably like anything else.
Mm-hmm.